Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a pick a card reading for the time frame ahead. Usually I pick a theme, an overall theme for these readings, but today I decided to just do the cards in a slightly different fashion. So for group one, we have this card here. It has sort of like a pink rose shimmery background with gold branches and red leaves. So that's for group one. For group two, we have this card. Has a black background and 5 brushstrokes of different sizes with metallic colors. And for group three, we have this card, which is a ladybug that is about to take off, and you have sort of like these it was coming through as vines, but it kind of looks more like branches. Whatever it is that you see in this image, that's what it is. So I'll hold up all 3 so that you can compare them. So we have group 1, group 2, and group 3. Timestamps are in the description box below. Hi group 1, let's get started with your reading. So we're starting off here. You have here the Champion card, which says achievement and downfall, which is really interesting just because of the card for your group with all of these sort of like red leaves, and there's like sort of red paint on this one's fingers, right? It's kind of looking to me like for you group 1, you're in this energy of the Champion. Achievement is the energy that I'm focusing on here, but I feel like because your energy here is coming out here with the Son of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles, right? There's all this energy of like reversals. It's kind of feeling like here, especially with the way that the cards are presented, like you can see this sort of mirrors this, where there's like a dome here, right? And this sword that's trying to pierce through the dome. So I feel like this is your energy, where it's kind of like there's perhaps with the 5 of Pentacles sort of in reverse in this position, it feels kind of like you're doing something for achievement, right? To sort of like break out of this 5 of Pentacles energy, whatever that is for you. The Son of Swords being sort of like perhaps with like your thoughts or your words, like the way that you're speaking or manifesting, especially here with the achievement, like doing things to sort of break out of whatever this 5 of Pentacles is. And it's really interesting that I feel like there's this energy here. You have here next the King, which says control and reversal of fortune. I actually see this as being another person, but it's really interesting that these 2 cards both have this sort of like broken sword energy, right? It's kind of feeling like, and they're opposite of one another. So I feel like this is another person that you may be dealing with, where I'm actually seeing these 2, like the handles of the swords are sort of like this twisted shape, where it looks kind of like a crank, like turning things, right? Like a turning, like it was kind of coming through as like a Jack in the Box, where you like turn the crank. I feel like that's what you're doing. It's coming through very much with the Sagittarius energy. I keep just hearing that, like Sagittarius. I don't know if you are Sagittarius or that energy is really significant to you. I actually feel like here, because it's coming out with the King and the Champion, there is a relationship between the 2 of you in some way. They're coming out as being almost like an adversary of some sort. It's kind of giving like this energy of like Gladiator, where it's like you being the champion, or however this resonates for you. There's someone here who's a champion energy, where it's like they're sort of in the sand pit, right? Like a gladiator, like trying to break out of a 5 of Pentacles kind of energy. And there's this King here who's like watching, it seems. It kind of feels like they're watching you in some way, or they're in a position where they're like watching what it is that you're doing. Whatever that is. I feel like it's not something that you are necessarily... Maybe you are, but it's kind of like, I feel like whatever it is you're doing, it's like turning this crank. It is also somehow affecting them as well. I think, or at least that's how they're feeling about it. It's like whatever it is that you're doing, they feel that somehow is negatively impacting them, because I actually feel like they might be going through sort of a reversal of fortune. There's a lot of reversals in your spread today that I feel like they may actually be going through some sort of reversal. Not necessarily because you are intentionally creating that for them. It feels like you are trying to break out of your own sort of Five of Pentacles, and it could be that they even put you there, is kind of how it's coming through. I don't know in what capacity that is, but that's just sort of how it's coming through. It's like you're trying to break free out of some sort of Five of Pentacles energy, because the swords here are related, right? They're both broken in this case. But I feel like yours is sort of like coming up against this barrier that is not breaking, is kind of how it's feeling to me. But anyways, the overall, like, sort of, I pulled two of these Queen of the Moon cards. You have here the New Beginnings, which I feel like is for you, if you're watching this. You have this new beginning, but then there's this Will card coming out in reverse. And again, I feel like it's this King energy, because this King energy from this deck, it's not really a positive card. It's kind of coming through as being like somebody who is in a position of power and is sort of used to getting what they want, is kind of how it's coming through. Like they are used to getting what they want out of a situation. I feel like what's happening is that the more that you turn this crank, whatever that means for you, like the more that you work towards this goal, the more it makes this one angry, is kind of how it's coming through here. Because it's kind of like what I'm seeing for you. You're coming out here with this mouse, which is talking about sort of just like focusing on your own goals. It's talking about like organization, being really like diligent, and like just focusing in on whatever it is that you're doing, right? They're coming out here as the Father of Swords in reverse, right? It's kind of like with the sort of like the owl and the mouse, like it's kind of like they see you as almost like an easy target or something like that. Like that they can easily sort of mess with you, is kind of how it's coming through, or like affect you in some way. And the reason why, like, and it's kind of coming through as well, especially because of like the power dynamic. There's kind of something here about like this one here is misusing their power in a way that's like that is what's causing the reversal of fortune here. It's not that you are doing anything to affect their wealth or whatever it is that they're losing, but it's kind of like because they are abusing their position of power, it's causing them to lose it. That's what it's coming through with. So because how I'm seeing this is like, sorry, just pausing for my dog to stop barking. Okay. I want to clarify what that King of Swords and the mouse energy was. And you have here the cosmic egg and the fish, where I actually feel like this is explaining sort of like a past energy between the two of you, where I feel like you were at this cosmic egg kind of energy. It kind of feels like some significant new beginning, right? Where it's like or completion of something, actually, is kind of how it's coming through. But because it's an egg, it's also a beginning, right? That's what this card talks about. It's sort of like this really significant, perhaps like turning point or something that you were at in the past. And how I'm seeing this is that because of this person's control over you, or like whatever it is, they actually pierce this new beginning from, like, it's kind of coming through as being like they took, or I don't think necessarily like they took, but whatever it was that they did, some sort of action that they did, pierce this new beginning is kind of how it's coming through in a really negative way. And so it's almost like that's what broke their sword, right? The fact that they used their power to impact somebody who they perceived as being sort of like this easy target, that's what caused them to lose their power, is kind of how it's coming through. And so now it's kind of like, I feel like they're in this position here with the path list that says difficult decisions and a lack of direction. I actually feel like this is their energy as well. It's kind of like they're going from the king, right? It's kind of like this crank is turning, and it's just like it's like someone who is in a position of power is now becoming sort of this pathless energy of like, it's like they're, the thing is though, I feel like they also have a new beginning for them, but they're not taking it. Like, how it's kind of looking to me is that, they're almost being like because I feel like it's like they had the option to step through this portal themselves, but because they chose to instead antagonize you, it's kind of like they're being forced now by some other energy, which is why the wheel is in reverse. They're being forced through this new beginning, even though I feel like they don't want it, but it's like the wheel always turns. Anyways, so I feel like for you, again, I keep wanting to say Sagittarius, there's this sort of like, so you have here the Four of Wands. I feel like this is sort of like the new beginning for you, because it's kind of looking to me like a portal of some sort. It's like the more that you turn the crank, it keeps the portal open, right? I feel like you are moving through that. But it's kind of like there may be this sort of like energy of like, because the next cards to come out here are the Eight of Cups and the Panther, where it's kind of feeling like this one is almost like trying to keep you from moving through the portal, is how this is feeling to me. Trying to like impact, like, because the way that the cards are coming out on the table is that this King of Swords in reverse is standing in front of this doorway, right? It's kind of looking like that to me, but I feel like it's they're coming through with this energy, because I feel like what's wanting to be reassured for you is that the more that they try and do this, because this Panther card looks to me like somebody, this is the only card in any of my decks that talks about sort of like jealousy or envy, or like, because the eyes are green, right? It's like they want what you have in some aspect of your life, whatever that is. Could be this new beginning or whatever. It's like they want something that you have, and so that's why they can't stop watching you, is kind of how it's looking to me. Like they have their eyes on you in some way, and I'm not trying to like alarm anybody. It's not feeling something like that's like really they're at a distance, right? It's not something that they can actually affect you, but it's coming through here because I feel like there's kind of like this energy of like, just keep focusing on what it is that you are focusing on here with the black egg, because and this card talks about truth and the throat chakra. So whatever it is that you're doing here with the Son of Swords, because this seems to be important for your manifestations, like what you say, how you speak, what you think as well, or what it is that you're working towards with the Son of Swords. The more that you do this, the more it repels this energy,
Because I feel like there's somebody here that's like actually actively trying to antagonize you is kind of how it's coming through. Like they're active. They're taking actions. I don't want to say against you, but that's sort of how it's coming through. They're taking actions in order to somehow block your passage through this new beginning, right? But I feel like the more that they do this, the more they come up against this Eight of Cups energy. So it's kind of like the more that they antagonize you, the more that they have sort of like ill health or negative energy in their system, right? Like the more that they act from this place, it's kind of like they're met with sort of like ill health in some way, right? It affects them physically when they act against you because of this black egg energy, right? This card talks to me about like repelling anything that is not the same. So this energy is not the same to you. And so every time they try and act in a way that's like trying to like stop you or block you or work against you in whatever way that is, it's like they experience it immediately. It becomes almost like they get repelled, but physically in their body, which is fascinating. I don't think that that's actually like, it's kind of just like, almost like you have like this force field of protection around you. That's how it's looking to me. And what's really interesting is that the cards are showing me here the Nine of Wands after this, where I actually feel like this one here actually has a new beginning somewhere else, right? It's like if they would just stop focusing on you, and if they would just focus on what it is that they're trying to do, they would have so much better energy. It's kind of like it's like they can't stop focusing on you when it's like they could be focusing on whatever it is that this is, right? It's like, why is this person like still hanging around, is kind of how it's feeling. They can mind their own business and go do something else, but they would prefer to actually antagonize you, which is like a really, that is what, that sort of action where it's like they're intentionally trying to antagonize you is causing them to lose their power. That's all on them though. That's all on them for sure. Okay, group 1. That was a weird reading. I'm going to end it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye. Hi, group 2. Let's get started with your reading. So the first card you have out here, there are 2 energies here, so I'm just going to describe both of them and fit yourself into the story however it seems right to you. So the first one here is the Patron. It says mentorship and finances, and to clarify, we also have here the Cobra, which also talks about a mentorship in some way. I feel like so this energy kind of feels like they're in this position of a mentorship, like they're the mentor, or there's something here about like they're coming in with a very masculine energy. It doesn't mean necessarily that they're a man, but it could be that they're in sort of like a position of taking action in some way. So that's one energy. And so what I'm seeing here, this is a really fascinating combination of cards. You have here the Son of Cups next to the Six of Cups, where the Son of Cups has been talking about like purifying water or very pure water, and it's like watering the roots of this tree, whatever that is. So that's kind of like this energy of whoever the Cobra masculine patron energy is. It's like they have water or something for whatever this tree is,
And it's coming through here next with the Ace of Pentacles and the Emperor, which I really love that these cards are coming out together, because I always say that these two cards are like, this is the Emperor and this is what's sort of under the surface, right? And it has to do, like, there's a lot of water in your reading today, where I feel like it has something to do here, especially with the Emperor and the Ace of Pentacles. There's some sort of new beginning here with whoever this masculine energy is. And it kind of feels like, though, that they're waiting on something with this Magician. I often see this as being sort of like a waiting to take action. It's like you have all of the materials, but the action hasn't quite happened yet. For whatever reason, I feel like there's something going on the other end that's sort of impacting the start of this. It's like, so there's some sort of new start or something like that with this sort of masculine energy. The next card to come out is the Sentinel, which says determination and certainty, right? Whoever this person is are very sure about this new beginning, whatever it is for them. But then there's this other energy here. So this is coming through as being a feminine energy. Again, it doesn't have to be female or like a woman, but it's just like there's somebody here who's in a Mother of Cups energy, the Queen of Cups. This one talks about emotional healing. So I feel like whoever this is going through sort of like a healing emotional, perhaps wounding is kind of how it's coming through here with the Hanged Man especially. Like, this is looking to me like they've actually taken time off, or with the Hanged Man are in a Hanged Man position because for whatever reason, right? They're just in sort of like a Hanged Man position, not acting on something. I feel like it's like they're trying to, whoever this feminine energy is, they're coming in with the Catalyst actually, which says radical changes and taking control. So I feel like this is sort of what's needed for this feminine energy, because it's kind of like there's something here about like a situation where it's like sort of like the Hanged Man, which is really interesting. This sort of like the shape of these cards are like looking very similar to me. The Catalyst talks about like starting a reaction, right? Like, or facilitating a reaction of some sort. So I feel like this one is needing to take action in some way. It kind of feels like, because the cards to clarify here, you have here the Phoenix and the Firefly. The Phoenix is all about the sort of root chakra energy, right? Like stability and home and foundation. But here with the Hanged Man, it's kind of like needing to unfurl the wings a little bit in order to create this change, right? Like, it's like there's some sort of change needed in this one's energy. And coming out with the Firefly next, it's like perhaps having to make a very big change in terms of like taking some sort of action here with the Firefly. There may be sort of like this energy here of like beginning again, especially with the Phoenix, because this one talks about sort of like the Phoenix burning up and then coming up as the Firefly next. It kind of feels like it's like a rebirth energy, like having to go through some sort of significant transformation in order to start again. And you have here coming out next the Frog, which is interesting because that was clarifying the Three of Wands and the Six of Swords. So I feel like there's kind of like this energy here with the water, right? This Three of Wands card talks to me about vision. I feel like there may be, like, whoever this Queen of Cups energy is, they're sort of in a period of perhaps like taking a step back with the Hanged Man, of doing some sort of healing work in order to like figure out what the next step is here with the Vision card. And it's coming through with all of this water, right? Because it kind of like this Six of Swords does talk about like moving on from something, right? It kind of feels like it's like having to leave something behind, especially with the Phoenix and the Firefly.
And with the frog, this talks about, to me, emotional vulnerability, right? It's like breathing through your skin is always what I say with this card. So perhaps it's just like emotional vulnerability might be a thing, like opening up to someone perhaps, or to whatever this is, whatever this dynamic is. Because I feel like there's kind of like this stuckness energy that's coming out next. Like you have here the Four of Pentacles, which talks about stuckness to me. Like not there's not a lot of movement happening in this place. It's kind of feeling to me like it's not quite the Eight of Swords, because it's not like something like they're feeling stuck. It's feeling like there's just like not a lot of ways in which this one can move, is kind of how this looks to me. It's kind of like everything depends on everything else, is how I see this card, where it's like if one thing moves, that's what this radical change might be. It's like if one thing changes, it's gonna affect everything. And so that it's kind of like this one here is almost in a Hanged Man, like not moving purposely, because it's almost like if they move one pentacle, it's gonna change or shift everything with this sort of radical change. This card talks about almost being like overwhelmed by the amount of change that might happen. That could also be the Phoenix. Perhaps the whoever this energy is aware of this already with the Vision card. It's like they already can see how much this new beginning will change everything, is kind of how it's feeling with the Phoenix and the Firefly. It's like it's gonna be perhaps an overwhelming or not difficult. It doesn't feel difficult. Kind of just like it's gonna just happen very quickly, is how this is feeling to me. But with the Four of Pentacles, it's like they're in a place of being stuck anyway. So it's kind of like you almost have to like get rid of all of whatever this is. Like it's a radical change, very radical. Everything's gonna shift. That's interesting. And then the next card's coming out. You have here the Father of Cups and the Mother of Wands. That I feel like there's kind of like this energy here. So again, this is the masculine, the feminine. But the feminine energy, this one always talks about protecting your nest, right? There's kind of like this, it's a very protective energy, because I feel like whatever this change is, it's like it's perhaps like tied to whatever that, because the Queen of Cups in this deck talks about healing, right? It's like this area of the change would be something that's like something that they're protective over, like an area of their life that they're very protective over. So it makes it even harder to let go of whatever boundary is up, right? Because this card also talks about having a lot of boundaries up, or having, I don't want to use the word defensive, but maybe it might be kind of like that, or just protective, self-protective, especially to this King of Cups, whoever they are. But there's so much emotion here, right? There's so much water. That's like the main, well, you have water and fire, and then the Ace of Pentacles. But the cards to clarify that, you have here the Horse, the Swan, and the Lion, which is coming through as, like, this is all the determination and certainty energy. I feel like whoever the masculine energy is, like, they're very sure that this is a match, is kind of how it's coming through. They're very sure that this is a match. But it's like, here with the Vulture and the Lovers card, I feel so the Lovers is what you're ending with, right? I feel like this is going to move forward. The energy of the situation feels like that, but it's like this, the Vulture is an energy of like having to cleanse the space, or having to clean out some sort of toxin, or again with the emotional healing. I feel like the whoever the Queen of Cups is dealing with sort of like muddy water, or whatever that means. Like they're perhaps not in the best emotional state because of perhaps their environment, or like because of whatever this hanged man is. It's like they have to remain in a hanged man position, because otherwise they'll get pulled into whatever this muddy water is, right? It's almost like all of there's so many things here that are just like need to be cleaned out in whatever way. But I feel like that it's like it is happening, because the Cobra talks about like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I feel like that's sort of the dynamic. It's like the situation is ready, but it's kind of like there's still somebody who's kind of needing to clear out with the Vulture some sort of emotional or emotion-based or water kind of energy, like having to clear that out in some way, or like to release something. But you are ending with the Lovers. So this partnership, if it is a partnership, strongly feels like that. For some reason though, it's coming through with mentorship. So it might not be necessarily romantic, but it does feel like that. But it's like, it's just talking about like there's a lot of learning that's going to happen in this dynamic. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. There's a lot of learning and forward momentum happening. It's just kind of like there's one side of this that's kind of needing to release something or clean something out, or like go through a very significant transformation that might be overwhelming, is kind of how that's the word I'm going to use. Overwhelming. Okay, I'm going to end it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Hi, Group 3. Let's get started with your reading. So the first card you have out here is the Queen, which says determination and sacrifice, which I really love this card. In this deck, the Queen is actually more of a positive card than the King is. It has more power. Like, this is one where this Queen card is the one that's currently in power, is kind of how it's coming through. The King was a card in Group 1, so that may have significance to you in some way. But the King card in this deck talks about someone who's about to go through a change in fortune, a reversal of fortune. So this card, the Queen, is actually talking to me about like you've reached this sort of like, or you're about to, or you are in your power, is kind of how I'm seeing this. It's interesting the word sacrifice is here, though, because I feel like that's important for you, which we'll get into. But the first two cards you have out here are the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, which is very much this sort of like strong energy here with the Ten of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. It talks about like having everything that you want and that you've worked really hard to reach this place, right? Whatever it is your Ten of Pentacles is, it feels kind of just like whatever it is that you've manifested currently, whatever's in your physical environment, all of that's included in this energy here. So you've worked really hard to get to this point, but I feel like there's like this energy here of like, here you have like the Void and the Release card. It's weird that you can see the reflection there. But these two cards are talking to me about like whatever period of wherever it is that you are right now here with the Queen. There's been some sort of sacrifice that you've made here with the Void. Like you've made some sort of sacrifice. Perhaps like
There's an energy here of like being isolated in some way, especially with the queen, right? There's something here about like perhaps feeling isolated with the Nine of Cups because of some sort of path that you're on or that you've chosen to take, but there is this sort of release energy. Something's being released. I feel like you're about to step into some sort of new experience with the octopus coming out next. This card is so interesting. It talks about like boundaries, actually. This card talks about boundaries, having to put up boundaries, because it's to me an energy of like being very having a lot of empathy for others, almost to the point where it becomes like overwhelming, or there's like it affects your mental state or like how you feel. And so like the importance of boundaries for people who are very empathic. And you have here next the Herald, which says small regrets and longing, which is interesting because I feel like that's part of the sacrifice, right? It's like you've made sacrifices in order to get yourself to this place of power here with the Queen. But it's kind of like this card talks about somebody who is like very confident in themselves, but there is sort of an undercurrent of melancholy, right? There's something like, especially with the octopus, because I always see the octopus as being a very, and sort of like the snakes there, which is interesting. It's the octopus to me talks about like very solitary energy, especially with the Queen, right? The Queen sort of stands alone. It's kind of feeling like there's something about like having to make sacrifices for this position of power that you have worked towards already. And what's coming out sort of like in the middle here, because I feel like this is actually like the energy that you're trying to create boundaries with, is the Eight of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Mother of Swords. So this one I pulled as a clarifying card for these ones, but it's kind of like there's perhaps like individuals in your space or just like situations around you here with the Ten of Swords and the Eight of Swords, where it's kind of just like you had to not be like, I feel like this is sort of like the energy of like what it is you're trying to release. So this could be your energy. This could be like a past energy that you're trying to get over or like trying to break free of. Or this could be other, like a situation, like other people in your space or whatever that you're trying to release from, that perhaps like, it's just, I don't even want to describe this. It's just like, it's just an uncomfortable situation that you are having to put up boundaries with, because coming out beside the Mother of Swords is the High Priestess. So the High Priestess from this deck specifically talks about like using your intuition to protect yourself, because I feel like this is a situation that perhaps you are having to leave in order to protect yourself or protect your peace, or like in order like, and it kind of feels like this is something that feels like a sacrifice. It's like you have to be separate from this situation, which might come at a cost to you in some way. Like it's like, it feels like you have to make sacrifices in order to not be in this energy, because it's coming through with like I feel like you are aligning with something else is kind of how it's coming through. You have the Daughter of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. So this Seven of Pentacles talks about alignment, right? You're aligning energies or like working towards something else that has to do with the Daughter of Pentacles kind of energy. Whatever this is, excuse me, I feel like this is like talking to me about like some sort of new beginning. I'm just gonna call it vaguely like that. Whatever this is to you, like whatever this new beginning is to you, it's like something that you've been working on or aligning yourself to for a long time, is how this is feeling. It's like you've been working towards this for a very long time. But it's like, so in the process, it's like while you're aligning yourself to this, I feel like there is, here with the Five of Swords, so many swords in your space right now. The Five of Swords talks about like having to cut ties with a situation or with another person or whatever. It's like having to cut ties because it's not in alignment with this new path or whatever it is that you're going towards, right? It's like that's perhaps where the sacrifice is. Because I want to clarify what this Five of Swords is, and you got the Nine of Swords and the Judgment, which is, again, more swords. All of whatever this situation is that you're leaving behind is just swords. It perhaps really affects your mental clarity or like your, just like your ability to focus on things, because it's kind of like with the Nine of Swords. So you have the 8, 9, and 10 of Swords, and the 5 of Swords. It's a lot of swords. Where it's like, it affects, it's like causes anxiety. It's a situation perhaps that causes anxiety, and it's like with the Judgment, releasing from that, right? I feel like you are in the process of being released from whatever this situation is. It is going to sort of require this like Tower energy though that's coming out next after the Five of Swords, because it's kind of like there's something about this situation that is not releasing you, is how I'm seeing this, right? It's like it's feeling like it's like that's why the boundaries are so important. It's like it's not releasing you even though you're aligning with something else. It's like it's still somehow in your space, and there's kind of like this energy of being sort of in this void space, like having to make sacrifices, because how I'm seeing this High Priestess is that it's like trying to stand in between this energy, this Mother of Swords, and whatever this Daughter of Pentacles is, right? It's like protecting this new beginning from whatever this situation is with the Mother of Swords. It's because like whatever this represents to you, this situation, it would negatively impact this. And so it's kind of like having to create strong boundaries with this energy so that it doesn't affect what it is that you are aligning with. And in the process, it's like that is going to take some sort of Tower energy in order to like, it feels like something like this Tower specifically talks to me about like divine timing. You have to wait until some sort of timing element comes into play before this situation can finally end. I feel like you are protected though, because you have here the Nine of Pentacles coming out next, which is interesting because this is feeling like a sacrifice, right? Because and it was 11-11 as I said that, because you're starting off here with the 10 of Pentacles. So it's kind of like, especially with this Tower, that I feel like there is perhaps, or you already know what this is maybe, it's like you have to sacrifice, quote unquote, something, or let something go, like one pentacle, in order for this change to happen, because it's like but the rest of your pentacles will be safe, is kind of how it's feeling. There's like one thing that you're having to let go in order to align with all of the others, if that makes sense. I don't know what that one thing is for you, but it's like having to let go of one thing in order to align everything else. I feel like that's a small sacrifice to make, but it does have this sort of like melancholy. Okay, but you have next here the Musician, which says inspiration and gratitude, because I feel like this is what you're going towards. this card talks about like just having left a situation that was difficult. So you're kind of like perhaps like making music out of it or creating art out of this difficult experience that you've gone through. And you're also at this position where you can help and inspire other people who may be going through a similar situation through whatever it is that you're speaking or creating or expressing. So there's something here about like you've made some sort of sacrifice in order to get where you need to go. In the process, you're releasing some sort of difficult energy that's been keeping you stuck. And it's like you have to let go of one thing, whatever, or you had to, perhaps this has already happened. You've had to let go of one thing that perhaps was very significant to you, but it's like you can't, it was affecting everything else in your life. It's kind of like you had to let that go. It kind of feels like an easy choice. Not an easy choice, but the most sensical one, like the one that intuitively you had to do. Because the High Priestess talks about like intuition, especially with the tiger. It talks about like intuition that protects you. Okay. And then next you have here the Daughter of Swords. Because this card is so interesting. In contrast with the Mother of Swords, because the Mother of Swords to me in this deck is a very sort of like harsh figure compared to the Daughter of Swords, which is a much softer expression. So this to me talks about like, perhaps there was a situation where you had to have a lot of like strict boundaries, but it was necessary in order for you to be released from that situation. And now that you are, or now that you're going to be, it's like you're free to sort of be more perhaps relaxed or just like less on guard is kind of how this is feeling to me. And then you're ending here with the sun and the star, which is so beautiful. Like this is what has come out under the tower, right? So it's kind of like some sort of tower energy where, so this could be some sort of divine timing aspect of like being released from a situation, but it kind of feels like it's like out of your control. You don't have any control over how this plays out. It's kind of like you just have to keep aligning with what it is that you're trying to move towards, right? Through the alignment of like your energy in the direction of what it is you're trying to move towards, it causes sort of like, not a tower. I don't like phrasing it like that because it's not something that is like, this could also be something like unexpected or something that like frees up energy. Whenever I see the lightning, it's like that's something that like breaks something apart in order to free up resources that are necessary. And what you're freeing up is the sun and the star. It's kind of like you're releasing something. Like it's like the universe is assisting you because you've aligned with this course of action or this goal or whatever. You've worked hard for something to move towards something. The universe is coming in to sort of assist you in that sort of like last release of this energy with the tower to break something apart that you've been trying to release yourself from is kind of how it's feeling. And what's released is the sun and the star. It's like that's what's released. This is all of this like potential and happiness that's sort of freed up is kind of how it's feeling. So really, in the grand scheme of things, a very small sacrifice to be made. It might not feel like that though. It might feel kind of like sort of like this void space. Okay, group 3. I'm going to end it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye.